Podcast is a little late to start. And I want to just say this. That's Biden. That's not Trump. We're late because of Biden, not Trump. If you look at what time we started, the podcast started 9:11, 9:10, and that part of that was not this current podcast. That was the previous podcast's fault. Hi, everybody. We got a big one for you. This is a big show. Virginia Giuffre left a note behind. It's very sad. It's very tragic. And we'll share this little tidbit that the family has shared with us. Plus, we have so much more on Bill Belichick's chick. She might be crazy. Yoko Ono is the word that's being thrown around the internet. And I don't know if that's fair or not. We'll give you all the evidence and you be the judge. Plus, breaking news here. The USA and the Ukraine have reached an agreement on that mineral deal. We don't have all the details, but we'll share with you what we do have and an interesting thought about it, too, and how possibly it could be ending that Ukraine and Russian war. Will Meghan Markle make an appearance on this episode? Maybe. There's a story. We'll let you guys vote on it in the live chat, which is booming, by the way, with lots of wonderful people and the most generous Fly NY, who has gifted another AOA membership. That means if you click on the membership link below, you might be the first one to get the membership for free. And if you don't, you should still join. You can do so for as low as $2.99 a month, and that helps us put on these wonderful podcasts. Appreciate you all, as always, especially Fly NY. Give it up for Robin, Miss Justice, and Bird, our wonderful ambassadors of the AOA team here, moderating in the comments section. Let's get this thing going. Of course, all our members and everybody who's been here with us since day one. We appreciate you guys so much. We blew up. Podcast has been going on since forever, but we blew up big time over the Jeffrey Epstein, Virginia Giuffre, Ghislaine Maxwell stuff. And it's crazy that here we are 6 years later, and we're still covering things with the tragic end of Virginia Giuffre's life. Which came on Thursday of last week. We learned it Friday live on the air. And today the family decided to share a piece of a note that she left behind. When I first heard the story, it kind of makes it seem like, it was like a goodbye, cruel world thing. It's not exactly that. However, we only got a snippet of the note itself. And I'll put it up on the screen for everybody so that you guys can see what we're talking about here. And, boy, I hate this layout. Sorry, I thought I had this all. There we go. That's good. Okay. This is what she left in the note that she left behind that her family decided to share. It says, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers need to show the battle lines are drawn, and we stand together to fight for the future of victims. Is protesting the answer? I don't know, but we've got to start somewhere, is the note that she shared. And, you read that and you're like, it's very meta, philosophical almost, right? Like really just, I don't know, like kind of thinking about future and lots of things. I thought we were going to get a goodbye cruel world thing. We didn't. However, like I said, this is only a snippet of it. I don't know what's before this or after it that the family chose not to share. Again, there's a full investigation going on by the police department over there in Australia. So I assume we'll see more. I assume they'll want to see this and examine it. And we'll go from there on that. But for now, this is all we have. And the other thing I want to let you know is this is from a journal entry. It's unclear when exactly this was written. We don't know if it was written 5 minutes before. We don't know if it was written a day or two before. We don't know. But we do know that she wrote it and the family decided to share it. I think the investigation will give us a little bit more information. Who knows how much we're going to be able to get? Who knows what the family is going to do to sue and not have, part of this come out? I know there were some dark moments here with her and her husband and domestic disputes, and they were estranged from each other. She hadn't seen her kids. We don't know if she got to see her kids before her unfortunate passing. We've talked a lot about what exactly happened, and there's been some great comments and input from you guys. And again, comment on this. Let me know what you're thinking on it. People are saying, maybe it was an accident. People are saying, is fentanyl involved? Was it just a mishap? Was it intentional? Like, we don't know. We don't know how it happened, hanging or pills or, in what manner it was done. But it's certainly sad. I do want to say thank you to everybody who reached out, and it was like me who originally just thought it was sad and didn't really see foul play in this. Not to say that there's not foul play, there certainly is. There's certainly a possibility that there is, but it could just be a tragic end to what is utterly a tragic life. Outside of marriage and few kids that she had, there wasn't really much to celebrate about Virginia Giuffre's life, and it's hard to have a wonderful, great life when you're cut down in your teens with what she had to go through with the Epstein ring and everything like that. It really kind of gets you mad, doesn't it? Like I get so pissed off when I see powerful people preying on people who can't defend themselves, hooking them in, and a lot of people talk a lot of shit about her and that she helped recruit other people. And yeah, I don't doubt there's elements of that too. But at the same time, you're talking about literally, and I mean this, outside of Hitler, and maybe, I don't know, you'd have to go back to the Crusades. Give those people a little bit of a pass, though. We were not that sophisticated as people back then. They did some horrible things in the Dark Ages, but look at the time, So outside of Hitler, I really believe that Epstein is one of the worst human beings to ever grace the planet. And then you add on to that Ghislaine and all the people that covered up for him and gave him those sweetheart deals and let him run around and do whatever he wants. It's just horrible, and this whole life for this woman was ruined by one of the worst top 2, 3. Top 5, if you want to argue with me. All right. You can't say Epstein is not in the top 5 worst people on the planet. And I know what you're thinking. And yeah, I'd put Meghan Markle in that category too. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't put her in a category with Hitler and Jeffrey Epstein. Not top 5. Top 10, maybe. Stop it. Listen, the point is, she went through so much. It's not unfathomable to think that she just couldn't take it anymore at the age of 41, I'm 42 and I didn't go through any of the stuff. Some days I feel like write a couple notes myself, right? It's normal stuff. I'm fine. I'm just joking around, but you get it. Like everybody, not, maybe you don't get to that point, but everybody gets frustrated, Had this thought today. We were, we do podcast consulting. We do all this other stuff besides the show that you see and commercials and things for people, right? We've been running around and so crazy here lately that I had this thought today of like what I wouldn't give for a week of nothingness, like for a week of waking up and not having to do anything. Like I thought, wouldn't it be great? And tell me if you guys can't relate to this. Everybody works, right? Some of you guys have jobs 5, 6, 7 days a week. I know people working, 8, 10, 12 hours. The first thought I had was, wouldn't it be just so great to wake up and do nothing for a day? Just nothing. Like even on weekends, when we're not or days that we're not doing the show, or days that we don't have anything else to do, right? Out of all the things that we do here, even on a Saturday where we don't have much to do, there's still like stuff to do. There's like, for me personally, it's the kids and it's the laundry and it's garbage and cleaning the garage out and, cleaning up around the house and outside the house and all this stuff. I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great to just wake up and do nothing? Like, remember when you were in high school and you had those days where you just did fucking nothing. You just had days where there was just nothingness. And then I thought to myself, oh, wouldn't it be great to do that for an entire week? Most of my life, I always had to keep busy, like even when I was doing the radio show, like I'd be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, do a show. Then after that, I would do commercials. And after that, I would do voiceover. Then after that, I would do social media stuff. Like I had the whole day just like nonstop going and going and going. And I loved it. And now at 42, I'm like, I wonder how many days I could go before I would get tired of doing nothing. And I don't know if it would end within a week. Am I the only one? Am I alone on this? Because I just feel like a week of nothingness. I used to think after 2 or 3 days, I'd be like getting a little stir crazy. Now I don't. I think I could go 2 or 3 weeks, to be honest with you. Just streaming shows, just roaming around the house in the jammies, Oh my God. Paul says, let's do a week at an opium. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulty. I decided to take a break right in the middle of the show. Paul says, I suggest a week at an opium. I've never done opium, but I'll try it. I'll try it. Connie, good point. By the way, we had the note on the screen a second ago. That was it. That's all the note. The note looks like it said more, didn't it? Like it looks like it said a lot more, but all they shared with us is what I shared with you. And it's such a great comment here. Weird that nobody is covering this. Nobody is covering this. Back in the height and the heyday of all this stuff, we were the only ones going as in depth on it as we did. And now there's just nobody, nobody seems to care. It's just not front and center. I think a lot of it does have to do with Trump. He's such a circus. He gets so much attention all the time for every little thing that he does. There's a little throwaway comment line, and there's 47,000 news articles about it. We've kind of lost the capacity for some of these older stories that kind of mean a big deal. And I would still like to know. And I still put the onus on this current administration who told us we were getting everything. Remember that? Remember that time? Oh, we'll release everything. Still waiting on it. Still waiting on it. Of course, if there's any updates on this, which I expect there to be, we will be on top of it the whole entire way through. So make sure you're staying here with us. If any of your friends want to know what's going on, suggest a show to them. Make sure they're subscribed. And again, like I said earlier, if you can become a member, that would be so great. For as low as $2.99, you have no idea how much that helps us go and put on the podcast and do everything that we have to do. Bill Belichick's chick. Okay, this is interesting to me. Last episode, I talked about not the 60 Minutes interview, but the CBS Sunday Morning interview with Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. And we played the clip for you. Frankie was here. He was responding to it. He agreed that it was weird. And I brought it to the show because I'm like, this is weird. Something's going on here. There's a 49-year age difference between Bill Belichick and her. So it's kind of like ew on his part. And then the controlling nature of her to just being like popping up in this interview and being like, we're not talking about this, and being a little like pushy about it, which is, a little strange. That was kind of ill on her part. And I went through that whole thing and I'm like, it's one of those things where, and this rarely happens for me, where I can talk about something and I can't really put my finger on it. Like I know it's bothering me or it's interesting or people are going to want to hear about it or there's something more there, but I can't really put my finger around it. Or on it. Why don't we put our fingers around anything anymore? It's weird. And that was me last episode. You can go back and look at it. I'm like, I just don't know why this is bugging me, but there's something, something's going on here. It feels like there's a little smoke here, but we just don't know what the fire is. And then it turns out, yeah, there's a fire. All right. There's a pretty big fire. As we went to find out, according to TMZ, which I can totally believe this, that Jordan Hudson, who's Bill Belichick's girlfriend's name, who is an influencer, she apparently disrupted that interview multiple times. So the one that we got to see was pretty outlandish and out there. Like the interviewer asked a question and she just off camera jumped up and like, we're not talking about this. And then, and that was, and here's the other weird part, that was included in the final interview. Like CBS Sunday morning interviews are so fluffy. They're not really hard hitting. They're not, TMZ. They're not scandalous for the most part. I mean, they're really straightforward, kind of nice. I love watching that show because, well, I like the horn section in the Sun, but I like it. It kind of sets the pace. It's like a news magazine show, which we don't really have much anymore. Just kind of like a slice of life and what's going on in the world. They do a great job at CBS Sunday morning. I really think they do, but they don't do hard hitting journalistic gotcha kind of stuff. So to go to that wider shot where you can see her off camera and she says that was kind of an interesting move on their part. And then we go to find out, according to this TMZ report, that happened multiple times. In fact, they're saying at one point she got up and stormed out of the interview and was gone apparently for like a half hour. And they had to stop and he went out, Belichick went out there, and then they came back together and just went on with the interview like there was nothing else. I think the interviewer, who I don't know who it is, not that I give a shit, he just like after a while was just like, all right, whatever, that we got enough. And supposedly, I think, because then she tweeted about a lot of stuff. Supposedly she got upset because they started talking about their relationship and she wanted to keep the focus on the book that he wrote because he was there to promote the book. But anybody will tell you, and listen, I have been in this situation a ton of times. And I've had to tell people, and there's sometimes where I've taken parameters because it was a big guest and I wanted them, or it was an interesting guest at the time and I wanted them. And there were other times where I was like, if you're going to come on the show, we're going to talk about whatever. Like there's not going to be any restrictions, and you can't have like major news breaking or developing or, just have something that's going on in the world, which quite frankly is this relationship in his life. I mean, there's a 49-year gap. She's gorgeous. He's, let's be honest, he's 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. I mean, he just looks terrible. He's fucking old. He wears shitty, ratty clothes. He doesn't care about his appearance. He's not media savvy. He loves to give the media shit, and it's going to draw. And you know what really bothers me? They're constantly posting on social media. You cannot just drill people with your relationship on Instagram and then go and do an interview and expect nobody to ask you about it. Fuck you. Like that's going to come up. It's one thing if they never posted about it and they were so private and they were like, hey, of course we're together, but please don't ask us about this. It's not really, okay. But you're just pounding Instagrams, pictures and videos of the two of you, and then you're like, we're not talking about this? Well, then go fuck yourself, fuck off. The CBS Sunday morning people won't do that, but I'm telling you, if that was me, I'd be like, you know what, we are talking about it because I get to do the interview here, not you. And if you don't like it, you could leave. And I'm telling you, I swear to God, I would have 1,000,000% done that because I don't need a fucking Bill Belichick interview. And also the fucking play and clicks that would have been gotten off of that would have been way bigger than any fluff horseshit interview that could have been done. In that moment, if I was the interviewer, I would have been like, actually, we are talking about it because I run the interview and I decide what we're talking about. If he doesn't want to answer it, he can say, but you off camera and Mike cannot. And if he would have left, then he would have left. That shit happens. But you can't try and grab somebody's audience to sell books, which do you really need? This guy's got more fucking money than, he's won 7 Super Bowls. He's done endorsements and all this other shit. Does he fucking need this right now? No, he doesn't. You can't grab a person's audience and then not let them do their thing. You know what I mean? Unless you ask kindly beforehand in an interview. If somebody comes to you and says, listen, it's not I'm like, I don't really want to talk about this. All right. If it's not interesting or important at the moment, great. But do you know why it's interesting and important in the moment? Because you keep throwing it in everybody's face on Instagram. That's why, you know? So, deal, deal, not to be rude, but it's the truth. Then she took to Twitter, X, whatever, and she starts like retweeting all these things. And one guy was like, I want to smack this interviewer. And she like retweeted that or said, I wish Bill would have smacked the interviewer. And she retweeted it. And what's really weird is she hadn't been on Twitter in like years or months or something. She's on her Instagram all the time, but she chose this moment to go on Twitter and put this all out there. And by the way, like I said last episode, the question was, how did you guys meet? And that was the thing that she didn't want to talk about. When she put it on Instagram herself, they met on an airplane. It's like a dumb fucking... By the way, if she didn't say anything and he would have been like, we met on an airplane? Oh, how? I walked by and we started talking and that was it. That probably wouldn't have even made the interview. You know why? Because it's fucking boring. And nobody cares. How'd you meet? On an airplane. Oh, okay. You walked up to her? Yeah. Yep. Oh, okay. That probably would have hit the cutting room floor. Because who gives a shit? So, what is this? Do the carpets match the drapes? Is that what you would have asked? Why and why? Is that the question that you want to know? For Jordan Hudson or for Bill Belichick? Because honestly, if we're going to ask one, we really should ask the other. Well, it's only fair. It is only fair. I'd be like, hey, Bill, is your pubic hair as gross as the rest of your hair on your body that I could see? And the answer to that would be yes. Oh, I like this a lot. Bill Belichick. Paul has been the MVP of 2025. Paul, ever since we got Paul 2.0, Paul, I have to tell you, you have been on a different level, a real different level. Can we all recognize Paul for a second for his cunning comments? I have been enjoying the shit out of Paul. Paul has been so good lately. Let's just take a second to recognize some of the genius here. Bill Belichick. How did nobody else come up with that? Nobody else did. Paul did. Kudos, my friend. Kudos. It's very, very good. Very, very impressed with Bill Belichick. Should we start referring to him as that from now on? I think that would be nice. Lots of kudos coming in for Paul here. Like the recognition. You guys are amazing, as always. Probably met at Hooters. You want to laugh at something? I was looking at this. I don't even think I saved it. Because you know why? Because I don't even know if it's true. Let's scratch this from the record. This is an aside. May I approach the bench? Can we do this in chambers so that the jury doesn't hear it? Some guy put like a thing online that's like the most popular companies by state. I guess the state where the company originated from. And it was like weird. It was a little weird and interesting. And I was gonna use it. I don't think I saved it. Because I was like, I don't know if this is for real. But like Texas was Dr. Pepper, which I did not know that Dr. Pepper started in Texas. Of course, I looked at New York because I was like, oh, I wonder what the most popular brand is that came out of New York. It was Verizon. It's kind of boring. But Florida was Hooters. So the most popular brand to come out of Florida was Hooters. And my first thought was, no, it's Disney. But technically, Disney came out of California. So I guess the pride of Florida is Hooters. A tight shirt restaurant, which is frankly going out of business. So Florida, you continue to not disappoint. Fucking Hooters. Anyway, thanks for that, Christella. Yeah, so then she tweets, she stormed off. And now, so the latest is, of course, typical TMZ and all like Page 6, all the shitty fucking, media, celebrity media things. They go off and they start to talk to her high school friends. High school for her was like 5 minutes ago. She's literally like, she's fresh out of high school. or college. So high school wasn't that long ago. But they've been talking to her high school friends, and our high school classmates said it's so on brand for her that she has a big controlling nature. A classmate from Hudson's High School said, quote, that is exactly how she is. We are so unsurprised by this. None of us are shocked. We think it's hilarious. Yeah, not a good sign. I would love to know what people in my high school think about. I mean, whatever weird thing that gets you on the national news, there's going to be high school people coming out of the woodworks going, yeah, that's about right. That's about right. That's definitely them. There's just no, telling. No, yeah. Well, Margaritaville for sure. God, I'd go for a margarita right now. It was that kind of day. But yeah, no, Hooters. Hooters will forever be tied to Florida for me. Paul crediting his meds that were tweaked for the. So anyway, that's the whole thing there with Jordan Hudson. But yeah, I mean, lots of reports now too that she's like Yoko. She's on the field next to him. She was a big like social media influencer, and so she had her own like business and deal going on. She's obviously successful previous to him. She's gorgeous, right? Absolutely beautiful, stunning. I don't understand why she's fucking with this old guy, but yeah, that's another thing entirely. We'll have to ask our own old person expert, J Sabs, next time she joins us. J Sabs lost her cat, by the way. It's very sad. Very, very sad. She had a cat for like 18 years or something like that. That's why we haven't really seen her in a little bit. It's devastating to her. I haven't consoled her at all. I haven't even sent a condolence because I don't have feelings. So I'm trying to figure out the right thing to say. What do you say? Sorry you lost your cat? Is that a thing? Do people mourn that? Anyway, if you see J Sabs or if you know her around the way on social media, give her a sorry about the whatever people say about when a cat dies. I don't even know. I thought these things had 9 lives. I thought they never really died. I don't know what it's like. But anyway, feeling for J Sabs. Hope she's okay. Sending her love. Jordan Hudson has all these businesses, and apparently Jordan Hudson has been like trademarking all this Bill Belichick stuff. Now, Paul, she hasn't, to my knowledge, trademarked Bill Belichick. So you might want to get on that quick before somebody else does. But like all this other stuff with Bill Belichick, she definitely trademarked like little sayings and phrases, things that people call him. Like Chapel Hill is down there in the University of North Carolina. That's the school that he took over the football program. And she trademarked Chapel Bill instead of Chapel Hill. Not bad. I don't know what she's going to do with it, but it's not bad. And the other thing is there's a football show they usually do in the NFL called Hard Knocks, where they go like behind the scenes and they show like training camp or practice. It started with training camp. Now it's like they go behind the scenes during the season too. So they decided to do it at UNC because Bill Belichick's there for the first time, and they were putting that whole like deal together. And then it fell apart, and supposedly they're blaming her now for this. Now, I don't know how true any of that is. Again, these are just reports. I hate to pile on somebody who's clearly just getting it right now, but the reports are that she was the one who, put the kibosh on that. The kibosh. We have far less Seinfeld references when Frankie C is not here. Anybody else notice that? Seinfeld dryland. Final story, and we'll wrap up with this. U.S. Ukraine, they signed that mineral deal 2 months after Zelensky and Trump had that big heated exchange at the White House. They had that meeting after the Pope's funeral where the two of them got together and they were in the chairs kind of like talking privately. And I thought that was a great sign to see. That was, I forget if it was right before or after Russia attacked Kiev, and that really, really bad attack the other day. And then Trump jumped on social media and condemned Putin, finally put some strong language to Putin. But I think this is actually the most positive development in the whole can we stop the Ukraine-Russia war, because up until now, the US, Europe, anybody who's been helping Ukraine has been doing exactly that. They've been helping. It's been aid, it's been, weapons or money for weapons, so on and so forth, whatever it is, right? That's been the deal up until this point. It's been, we will help them. We're not going to put troops on the ground. We're not going to do this or that, but we'll give them whatever. Now, you're messing with a country where our interests really lie. If we made deals to develop economically the minerals over there, and I don't know what the deal is exactly, it just happened, so we don't know the specifics yet. But now that there's some money in the game and that shit is technically ours, or we're working with them, and who knows what the revenue split is or how the deal works, I don't know. But this changes the game from a standpoint of we were on the sidelines helping, and now we have a bigger economic interest in this. And for people who are unfamiliar, minerals are the next thing, right? I mean, that's where all this Greenland stuff comes from. Ukraine and the mineral thing. We're making batteries. The world is heading towards electric cars and electric everything, renewable energy. Batteries are going to be huge, and these minerals are massive in getting that. So, rightly so. I mean, you cannot argue about this. The Trump administration is trying to, we could argue about how they're getting there, but they're trying to secure as much of these minerals and things that they're going to need as possible, because it's almost like the next arms race, right? At one point it was nuclear weapons, and then another point it was going to the moon. Over the course of humanity, we chase these things. We get into arms races with other countries trying to get the most or more of whatever. And right now it's AI and things that are needed for renewable energy, like minerals for batteries. And so you've got to do those things because China's out there trying to get it. Russia's out there trying to get it. And you don't want to have it fall into their hands. So you want to have the most of it. And it's the same thing with AI. Like whatever we need for AI, to make some of these things work and happen, we're trying to get there faster than China, faster than Russia, India, England, you name it. Ally or not, we want to be the ones who have the most, who are in control, so that we can make sure that nobody comes and takes our shit. So it's a big deal. And, if they're going to be out there fucking around with this stuff and blowing it up, you can count on the fact that America is going to take a bigger stance here. So I think this is a real positive development in this effort to stop that war, because I think Putin is going to think twice about bombing whatever. Because now you don't want to knock on the big dog's door, And I also think if he is crazy enough to do that shit, there will be a bigger response from the United States. I mean, look at what we did with the Hooters. The ones, the pirates, and that we bombed that whole thing, the Houthis. That was like 3%, 10%, whatever it was, American materials, shipping, whatever. We didn't see the most of that. That was mostly Europe, and we still wanted to step in and defend that area against those pirates or terrorists, or however you want to describe them or classify them. So I think this is a big step in the right direction. I really, really do. As part of that, because we did bring up Trump, and I do think this is part of this. Today was the 100th day of the administration, and I'm not going to comment on this too much, other than because when he was elected, again, you can go back to these past episodes. I said, obviously, you're going to support him. He's the president now. We'll give him a chance. You got to give him 100 days to see what he can do. And we've given him 100 days. And my honest feeling on this is really, honestly, not too far of a departure from what most of the polls are showing, how most Americans feel. And most of the polls, from what I could see, most Americans feel like he is doing, even though a lot of people don't agree, even though I think a lot of people recognize that morally there's a lot of wrong going on here. People like what's happening with the border. I saw a stat the other day that there was like somewhere around 1,400 border crossings versus in the first 100 days of his administration versus what the Biden administration had, which was like off the charts. By the way, everybody, let me get all this stuff out before you start jumping down my throat on these things. I mean, it wasn't even close. Like, there was no comparison. Like, people were running roughshod over the border during the Biden administration, and now they're not. And as horrible as all these things are that are happening with the deportations, again, lots of administrations deported people without due process. That happened all the time during Biden, Obama, Clinton, Bush. That happened. But I get everybody is upset because everything that Trump does is bad. But it seems to be working. People, for the most part, are very approving of how he's handling the border. What people are not approving of is his handling of the economy and what's happening there and the tariffs. Even amongst Republicans, those numbers are drastically lower. Like, everybody seems to be happy with the security and the deportations and the border. That was a big thing that he ran on, and people voted for him because they wanted him to do exactly what he's doing. But the tariffs and the economy and everything else, he is clearly not handling well, and people are not happy with it. And I think even the Republicans that are giving him the biggest benefit of the doubt know that you have to wait for all of these policies that he's putting into place to really work. And I just don't know or have a lot of confidence that people are willing to wait that long. Because, yeah, the Apples and the Fords and Chevys of the world perhaps maybe can move a factory pretty quickly. But when you look at all the thousands, the tens of thousands of small businesses that cannot move those factories, you're talking about 5 to 10 years before people can move a factory to the United States of America. So, I mean, even Trump should have known this. We're not going to bear the fruit of what he's planting right now for years to come. And I just don't know if the country is willing to wait that long. Even if everybody and I think everybody does overwhelmingly agree that the trade issue was not fair, right? There was a trade problem in the world in regards to us. And Democrats said the same thing well before, right? Everybody was trying to make new deals always with countries and trying to even up the score a little bit to help our deficit out. But the way that he's going about it is not been great. And even where he's gotten and gained some ground, still not great. And all we keep hearing is, hey, there's progress and there's deals being made, and we're waiting like patience on a monument over here. Haven't seen one announced yet. We keep hearing there's deals, but we haven't seen one. And I would put the Doge handling in the same thing. Like, I was very on board and still am with cutting government waste and figuring out the fraud and, trying to get to the bottom of this. I find nothing wrong with trying to do what we're doing better. I do that in my personal life all the time. However, in the manner in which it was done, not great, right? And you look back at it now, 100 days in, and we see, for all the noise that Doge made, what is the actual result here? Because we heard about this and that and the transgender mice, which wasn't true, and all this stuff. So a little bit of an embarrassment, right? But at the same time, a lot of what they canceled was already done or canceled or whatever. And it hasn't really been all that good of a response. Like, if it worked really well, we should start seeing some of these things. Cuts in spending, you look at certain numbers and it looks like they maybe spent a little bit more in the first 100 days. Now, are you going to tell me, hey, we got to spend a little bit more for the long-term cut? Okay, I can eat that and look at it for a little longer, but that time is going to come and we're going to see if it worked out or not. And he's going to have to answer for that. He's doing things that maybe will take 5 or 10 years to come to fruition, but he's only got a 4-year term. So, you're seeing why presidents didn't really do a lot of these moves. Do I give him credit for trying to get a lot done? Yes, I do. He has had more executive orders than, I think it was Eisenhower, and passed him by 50. I think Eisenhower had 99. He's at 140, whatever. But at the same time, what have some of those things really accomplished for us? Because I look at that and I was like studying a couple of them the other day. There's a couple of executive orders that are in direct conflict with each other. Like he said one thing in an executive order and then went back on it in another executive order. So which executive order are we all supposed to follow here? You know? Kind of tough. At the end of the day, you really can't ignore the core issues. And I think this is a big reason why Biden and Harris lost, right? The economy was good, wasn't outstanding. They told us the border was good. That turned out to be not so much. There was a lot of things going on. They had a better handle on inflation, as we can see now. But people, you can only bullshit people so far. There is a good bullshit meter, even though, especially the MAGA people right now, seem to be able to take a lot of bullshit on and believe it. He's going to have to answer. And midterms is the first question. What's going to happen to his senators and congresspeople who are running for re-election come the midterms? That's going to be a big referendum on the president. It always is. It always is. That's why the first 100 days are so important. What could you get done before you run out of runway? Before people really start to lock you into place? And if he winds up getting a Congress that's not so much in his favor and the Senate winds up changing hands a little bit, we could really go back to the same old deadlocked government that we usually do have. So I applaud him for his efforts. But I think most Americans, if they're being honest with themselves, could agree that he could have taken a different tact. Now, that's not his style. He's got his style, certainly, right? Certainly, he's got more, he's still got a whole year here. It's just 100 days. Could be a big difference. Some of these dominoes could start falling in his favor. But right now, it's not looking great. It's not looking great. Rhonda here saying, my Vietnam era vet husband just got a letter he will lose his VA pension. That's not good. I think are they doing the vote right now for the thing that's supposed to be screwing up not Medicare, what's the entitlements there? What do they call that? Social Security? There's some vote on that. I think it's happening right now. I'm not entirely sure how that's going. But we'll have a comment on it, of course, on Friday's episode for sure if it goes the wrong way. There's a bill out there right now in Congress that they're debating over. Listen, I got a lot of people. Frankie knew a person that was in the government. I have somebody very close to me that, had a lot of that stuff go down, got the letters and everything. And that's the other thing too. I get this guy is like a cutthroat kind of a guy, business guy, likes to fight and all that stuff. But sending people emails of like, hey, justify your existence in this government, in this job, your job, justify your job. He just could have handled a lot of this stuff way better. He could handle it a lot better. And again, it's been 100 days. And the closest we got to seeing any sort of a fair tax deal amongst the upper 1% of the wealthy people came from a statement from, what's his name? Fucking pot mark face there. The crazy guy who was his chief of staff the first time. I could see his big stupid face. His name just left my Bannon. Fucking Steve Bannon was the only one who said Trump is working on something that will have the rich paying more taxes. That is the closest we got to anything. And that dude isn't associated with this administration whatsoever. We haven't seen anything close to that. And boy, would I love to see Trump say that. Now, I don't know if he will before midterms. He might have to wait until after midterms, but I don't know what he can get done after midterms. Because again, I get trying to cut government waste. I get trying to cut fraud in the government. I understand making a lot of those moves. But at the same time, you have to have the wealthiest 1% pay their fair share. I know they pay a lot of taxes. I know they do. I know when you look at about the amount of money that they pay, it's far more than any regular person who's making like 50, 60 grand, 70 grand a year. There's no doubt. But when you look at percentage and share, they're not even close. And they're not even close. They have to do that. And then the other part of this is we've got to cut defense spending a little bit to make this all work. Anybody with a brain and an economics degree can tell you that to balance the deficit, to get the budget under control, you've got to pay down that interest. You've got to rein in defense spending. You've got to get the wealthiest of wealthy to pay their fair share, and you got to cut the fraud and the waste. That's how you do it. It's no secret. And they're only focusing on what they really, really want to focus on, you know. Christella with a great point, which Rhonda agrees with. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. 1,000,000%. I don't think anybody's ever doubted that, right? Has anybody ever doubted that? That's exactly the kind of guy he is. You know, that's exactly who the kind of guy he is. Oh, he had the most pardons too. Was Bannon a pardon? He pardoned all the January 6th people. He's had the most pardons in the first 100 days. He's done some wacky shit. I will give him credit though. He is trying to do a lot of things. In a country where it's hard to do anything, he is trying to do a lot of things. But sometimes it's quality over quantity. And this is definitely one of those instances where we probably could have used a bit more quality and a little less quantity. Doesn't mean, you know, I'm not rooting for the guy. I'm rooting for anybody sitting in that Oval Office. I want them to do well so we could do well, you know? And if he does come around and get better and more fair trade deals, great. Great. But he's got a long way to go before anybody can say he's doing a really good job. And by the way, to reference back to the joke that I made to start this episode, to sit there 100 days in and go, this isn't my economy. This is the Biden economy. We didn't get here until January 20th. What in the holy hell are you talking about? A quarter is January to March, and it takes this long to figure out what the impact of in that quarter was. And you're going to sit there going, well, I wasn't here the first 20 days, so none on me, not my fault. Are you out of your mind? Out of all the dumb things that guy has said, which has been quite a few things, that today in the cabinet meeting was the dumbest. It's not really my economy. It's Biden's economy. Bro, you fucking kidding me? Like, you're out there going, I'm doing this and I'm doing that in the greatest presidency. And where was this whole thing during the we're going to win? And we're never going to have to elect another president after me. I'm going to fix everything so quickly. And, you know, we're going to, you know, it's, you know, we're going to fix everything in the first, 100 days. Here we are. Nothing's been fixed. And I know people can probably criticize me and be like, why'd you wait till now to say it? Well, I think the criticism is more fair now to be like, he's not going to do anything on day one. I don't think that's right. It's hard to stand on that, but we can stand on it now, you know, to say, well, we weren't here the first 20 days. So it's really not. Come on. You were doing things as president-elect that affected the economy and foreign relations and everything else before you even got inaugurated. And now you're going to pawn this off on Biden. And by the way, let me speak for everybody who hates and supports President Donald Trump. Enough about Biden. You won, guy. You won. Stop fucking campaigning against that. By the way, Biden doesn't even know what the fuck you're saying. He's so gone. He has no idea what's happening. He's just happy he's getting Jell-O today. And you're like, how do you know he's getting Jell-O, man? Because old people like that get Jell-O every day. Jell-O is a lifeblood to those people. If you're fucking 84 and you can't remember your name, you're getting Jell-O and you're fucking excited about it. It's Jell-O. But this whole, well, it's Biden. And then every time he wants to come out and celebrate a victory of his, he goes, because the Biden administration didn't do this, but we're doing it. Just stop it already. Just stop already. Because nothing is a worse look for you than you're still fighting with the old guy who's not here anymore. Stop fighting with the people that you beat. You won. And by the way, the buck stops with you now. You can't keep passing blame along to other people. Be a big boy, put on your big boy pants, and start taking some responsibility for shit. You know, I respect him a little bit more when he says, we've got to be patient. We got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Okay, I can sit around for those cliches for a little while, but to sit here and go like, well, this is Biden's economy. Come on, guy. You single-handedly tanked the whole fucking 1.6 trillion or whatever it was in a day and a half with the tariff talk. You can't be like, it was the guy before me. Give me a break. Give me a break. That is so stupid. And the second most stupid thing to come out of this administration is, why is everybody wearing a blue suit with a red tie? We've got to stop that. If you look at the cabinet meeting today, fucking Marco Rubio looked exactly like Trump. They were wearing identical suits. It's so fucking embarrassing. You gotta stop with this. You know, you can't kiss his ass that far. I know he likes it. I know he likes a little ass smooching, but you gotta fucking, I mean, come on. Now I gotta look up the cabinet meeting video so I can show you guys this fucking Marco Rubio. The guy who he insulted the shit out of his wife and his father. And I forget what it was. It was so bad. And now Rubio's up there not only kissing his ass, but wearing the fucking same suit. If you're going to dress up as Trump, you got to go blue suit, red tie. That is the look right now. That is the look that they all have. I get a good shot with him and Rubies. The Rubers. Okay, hold on. I mean, dude, it's identical. Identical. My cousin Vinny. I don't know if we quote anything more than my cousin Vinny. Seinfeld. Seinfeld, maybe. Seinfeld is the most. My cousin Vinny is got to be second. That's got to be number 2. Look, he's wearing the same fucking. It's the same. It's everything. It's the same shade and everything. The suit's the same shade. The tie is the same shade. It's like, let me dress like my orange daddy for the day today. What is happening? When Rubio walks into that, by the way, it's the White House. There's 75,000 ties in that room. There's assistants. There's, assistant twos. There's, low-level staffers. Any one of them, you go, hey, kid, trade ties with me. So I don't look like a huge fucking jackass at the cabinet meeting wearing the same fucking thing as the president. The Gulf of America hats are ridiculous. This administration is so sponsored, it's not even funny anymore. I mean, it's really like, and that was Trump. That was nobody else but Trump going, let's get some hats for the table. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some hats for the table. Seems crazy. An administration about nothing. Good old Robin. All right, that's all I got. That's basically it. He was funny. He said Hegseth was like the least controversial member of the cabinet. I thought that was hilarious. A lot of reports coming out that he's giving Hegseth the shit. He's giving him the business, telling him, buck up or you're going to be out of here soon. This is one thing I will say about Trump. He can deal with embarrassment and he won't fold to the media, but he doesn't like when he gets embarrassed. When people start to say, what did Trump do to appoint this guy? That's when shit starts to change, That's when stuff really starts to change. Marco has been rumored to be gay for years. Yeah, okay. Do you think he's starting to get obsessed with Trump? Is that where you're going with that? I don't know. I've never wanted to dress like anybody I had a crush on, but maybe that's the thing. Who knows? Maybe that's the thing. Trying to think if I got to everything. There was a Meghan Markle thing, but I thought I'd leave her alone. Should we give her a break? Feels like we should. Oh, what was it? I think it was that she's still using it. Oh, yeah. Meghan Markle is still using Her Royal Highness in her private life. And the reason why we know this is because Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get this off. Okay, here's the story. Meghan Markle has been using Her Royal Highness in her private life. And how we know this is because her friend got sent like a basket from Meghan Markle. I think she sent her honey or whatever. And she also sent, it was a basket of stuff and it was honey and something else. Maybe it was ice cream or something. I don't know. Strauss family. She sent her a bunch of stuff. And the note basically said, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, which she promised the Queen that she wouldn't use. And that got sent not that long ago, last year maybe. And her friend put that on social media. That's how we know about it. So they promised that they wouldn't be using this, and she's still out there using it. And by the way, the note had like a little crown on top of an M. She's such a fucking asshole. I can't stand people. I tell you, I had some woman comment on before, or maybe it was a dude, some fucking dude. No, maybe it was a woman. She wrote a comment before. Oh, Meghan is so wonderful. I really enjoy her show. Fun for the whole family. What the fuck are you talking? What fucking drugs are you on? You crazy son of a bitch. Holy shit, she's so wholesome and wonderful. What the fuck? What fucking show? How boring is your life that you find that boring ass show wonderful? I don't get it. I don't get it. How mundane, how much of the middle of Wyoming do you have to live where absolutely nothing ever happens to you that you can go, oh, this is a good show? Gather around, kids. Get all the kids to come. I don't even know what this fucking comment is. I'm so fucking angry. There's a problem with social media now. I don't know what fucking 10,000 networks that we're on where this person left this comment. She's so wholesome and wonderful for the whole family. The fuck are you? You know what? You want wholesome and wonderful for the whole family? Watch Sesame Street, okay? At least the kids are going to take away something from that. The only thing they can take away from Meghan Markle is who's this sad lady that's pretending to be cooler than she actually is. I almost read the wrong thing here. Somebody being very facetious. Oh, okay. Here it is. Here it is. I'm not going to call out the person. I won't do that. That's terrible. Although clearly they need a lot of help. Love Meghan Sussex. She even called her Meghan Sussex. I don't know if she's fucking with me or trolling because nobody calls her Meghan Sussex, right? She goes, love Meghan Sussex. Great show the whole family can watch. So talented and creative she is. I found her voice to inspire peace and relaxation. So soothing to hear. So soothing to the ear her voice is. Can't wait for all that's to come. Bravo, Meghan. You rock. Get the fuck out. That's got to be a troll, right? That can't be real. Nobody can really feel that way, can they? There's no fucking way that that's real. There's just no way. There's no way people truly feel that. And calling her Meghan Sussex, that they're trolling. She's trolling me, right? That's got to be a troll. Which I respect the troll game. I do. I almost want to shout her out because I respect the troll game. Can't wait for all that's to come. There's no fucking way. There's no way. There's no way one person on this planet watched that entire first season and then thought, I cannot wait for second season. There's no way. There's just no, I refuse to believe this is anything but trolling. There's no way. There's no way this could be real. Great show. The whole family can watch. I can't imagine how much my kids would go screaming, running out of the room if I made them watch Meghan Markle. I just can't fucking imagine it. So talented and creative. Are you fucking, you know what? The thing that bothers me the most, you know, people call me jealous and shit. I'm not jealous, believe me. I would much rather be me than her. And that's saying a lot because I can't stand being me. But there's, I mean, you open up Instagram, for instance, or Pinterest or whatever. There are so many creators out there doing such amazing shit all the time, you know, and they're grinding it out and they're making a living. I just respect those people so much. It's so hard to make it in the lifestyle space. It's so fucking hard, you know, and some people are coming up with creative shit. There's been so many times where I've seen something and I'm like, oh, I gotta do that. I gotta use that. And it's somebody who's just like, hey, this is a good idea. I think this will be great. You know? And then here comes this dick who's just been handed everything since she married her husband. And you're going to call her fucking creative. Oh my God. It just goes to show you that there are some people in this world that they wouldn't know talent if it slapped them in the fucking face. They have no idea. You know, it's like when I watch like I watch YouTube videos like everybody else, right? And you see these people and they go and eat a meal somewhere and they're like, oh, this is or they like they get like KFC and they're like, oh my God, this is 10 out of 10. This is so delicious. Is it? Because any fast food place on its best day can only be a 6. I mean, go to any restaurant in New York City or any great Las Vegas, any great culinary capital of the world, and you can get 7, 8s, 9s, and 10s. A fucking fast food restaurant like KFC cannot be a fucking 10. And you look at these people like, oh, this is so delicious. And you realize, oh, they live in a remote place where no good food exists. And so when they have KFC, then suddenly they're like, oh, this is delicious. You know, and then you start to feel bad for those people. That's how I feel about this woman. That's like, oh, she's so talented. Like, no, if you really want to see talent, go on Instagram. I bet you I could find in 10 seconds 5,000 other men and women who are just putting out amazing shit, you know, who really have interesting takes and fun little, you know, anecdotes and things than this fucking zero. She's such a zero. Oh, she's so wonderful. Fun for the whole family. What fucking family are you in? Look at that. Okay, now see the HRH, that's Her Royal Highness on the last line there. And the M with the little crown, little tiara on top. Like, she promised the Queen, her and Harry said they wouldn't use it anymore. The Queen said, hey, you're either in or you're out. You can't be halfway. If you're going to be out, you can't have your titles. And she's sending out little packages with cards with a little tiara over the M and that says Her Royal Highness. She's a fucking asshole. And anybody that can't recognize it, you need help. You need help. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to feel bad. I don't feel like I'm picking on anybody. I don't feel like I'm being racist or sexist. You promise an old lady like the Queen, you're not going to do something. And then you go and do it in your private life when you act like you're so wonderful to everybody else. You're a fucking asshole. And you deserve every bad thing that happens to you. Not that I'm wishing bad. Not that I'm wishing bad. I just cannot wait for her Netflix show and her podcast to be canceled. I am sitting here waiting for it. Just waiting for it. Like patience on a monument, baby. Waiting for that day where Netflix is like, we're going another. That's what I was thinking about the other day. What's Netflix going to say to get out of this? Because they can't be like, hey, we made a colossal error and Meghan Markle is a goddamn nightmare to work with and didn't sell shit for us, didn't do anything, so we're getting rid of her. They can't say that. You know, they can't say that. So what are they going to say? We're going in a new direction. You know, I wonder what they're going to come up with because it's going to be some load of bullshit corporate media line. And I can't wait for it. I am here for it. Friday show coming up. We'll try and wrangle in that wonderful and talented Erin C. Come in here and give us another wonderful game. She's a renowned. You want to talk about talent? Look at this book. Okay. Look at all that content in this book. That's talent, my friends. That's a fucking story and a half right there. That's talent. She did all this while being married and pretending to be happy with Frankie C. That's not easy to do. It's not easy to write a book. It's not easy to write a book and be married to that man. I'll tell you that. And she did it. So hopefully we'll have Erin C back on Friday. Play a game with us here. Get us off on our weekend to a nice start. Until then, it's Thirsty Thursday. Get yourself a drink. You deserve it after the week that Meghan Markle put us through. Just being a dick. Ignore me. I'll see you guys on Friday, and I will miss you all until then.
Show me potato salad.
Maybe we should go now.
Go ahead.